back, everyone. Happy flight back home. Because I don't know what day you're seeing this, but hopefully that you are having a great day. So we have a huge topic to discuss, but before we get into it, I just want to kind of bring us back in full circle. So we've been relaxing, it's been getting hot. We need some cool, relaxing drinks, just like our coping with stress series, as we're doing a whole bunch of different little fun beverages to kind of cool off as it's been real hot these last few days. But we've also kind of tackled and worked our brain muscles as we've discussed why it matters to be selfish. We've also discussed money, because money is a big thing when it comes to choosing our education and choosing where we want to go. Hopefully, you've also seen our other video known as Finding Your Fit, where you get to figure out what our options are after high school. So now that we've kind of seen everything, let's bring it back to full circle into what we want to talk about today. SIR, orientation, and our other to-dos as to what we can do once we've decided the school that we're going to. This applies to community college, foreign institutions, out-of-state institutions. It all kind of circles back and comes together. And why is this such a big event? Why is it so important? Because SIR Day, which is always May 1st, never forget, is a huge national celebration started by Michelle Obama back in 2015 with the Reach Higher. If you ever seen hashtag Reach Higher, you should look it up. But all that together to celebrate students that are underprivileged, first generation, to kind of empower us, students like us, I know, I qualify, right? But to empower us and say we can go to school. These schools better make room for us because we are attending no matter what, and we are saying yes to an institution because we learned in our last video, higher education is a gateway to opportunities, jobs, and all the fun, luxurious stuff that we want out of life. So that's why this event is huge. And as college-bound staff, it's kind of like our Christmas, and we make it huge for all of you. So we get like mascots, we'll go see Michelle Obama, we'll do all sorts of stuff. This year, because it's a little bit more virtual, we're throwing a huge virtual event for all of our lovely students on May 1st. So we're going to be doing a whole bunch of celebrations, chanting, some games. We're still going to make it fun with some lovely prizes. But enough about that. Let's get into the topic at hand, right? So what is SIR, right? Sir, it is your student intent to register. Essentially what that means is that you are holding your spot at the school and you're saying that you're going to be attending that school. It ranges. Sometimes that student intent to register is free, so sometimes we don't have to pay anything. Sometimes it may come at a cost to be able to hold your spot at that school. If, let's say, for whatever reason, you don't have the funds, any one of your lovely college-bound staff, or you yourself, can easily call and say, excuse me, can you waive this? I don't have the money, but I love your school. Thanks. It won't go that smoothly, but overall, that's how it kind of goes. You want to make sure you do it before May 1st, though, because on May 1st, chances are you're not really going to get that waiver of the fees. So let's do it a little bit earlier, but hopefully you've broken down your award letter and we can kind of dip right into it. So depending on every school, it's going to vary. Usually if you get a fee waiver for the application, your student intent to register fee is waived with it. If you didn't, then of course we can always make that phone call. And essentially, you just want to secure your spot and say, yes, I'm going to attend this institution by May 1st, celebrate with your college gear, celebrate with all your fun stuff. And if you didn't know, the person who's filming me today is Karina, the UCLA alum, as well as Wilmington College Bound coordinator. Awesome person. I say that because she's in her college gear. She's always representing. So how does it change? How does it differ? How does it move on? So with any foreign institution, you're going to see like a $250, $150, $350, maybe $450 fee in order to register. At a community college, 100% free. As soon as you submit that application and you've done your other steps, it's going to all be free. So no even stressors, no even worries about that, but you still want to make sure that you secure your spot at a community college just because you want to know where you're going, have your financial aid go somewhere, as well as kind of have that space to be able to pick out your classes and know what it is that you're going to do next. Now, in order to accept your student intent to register, you want to make sure you log onto your portal. After you've applied, you have access to a portal. So on this magical, wonderful portal, you go in and you say, yes, I want to attend this school, or I decline my acceptance, whatever it is that you're choosing to do. Do you have to do it for every school? No, because after May 1st, if you didn't do anything or if you didn't SIR, the school will get the message of saying, you're not really going to come to my school. You really want to target the school that you're saying yes. So you want to make sure you hit accept. Hopefully it's the school that you're dreaming of, and you want to make sure you say yes. A big question that kind of comes up. Oh yes, it's May 1st. We've covered it. Now, a big question that comes up, how come it still says provisional, right? Even though you've done your SIR to that school, it's still provisional. Why is it still provisional? You gotta make sure that the message and the application you sent correlates with what you actually do. What do I mean? I don't want to show a fake picture and catfish the school. I need to be real. I need to let them know this is who I am. So they want your final transcript. They want to make sure that you passed all your classes, because if you lie to them, bye. Doesn't matter if you paid or didn't. You're not coming to the school because unfortunately you lied. Now your admissions has been revoked. So still make sure, even though you've said yes to a school, to keep working on your classes, whether they're virtual, online, or not. College Bound is here to help you with that. Just gotta plug us in one more time, because look at this swag. That's right, it's beautiful. College Bound swag. You know you want one, right?
Eddie, I just want to add, I know there's some students still on the wait list. So those waitlist schools might have a different deadline. So kudos to those that are still waitlist. You still have a little more time for those. But I do remember when I SIR to UCLA, some of those fees also will cover orientation, which is where you sign up for classes. So you're definitely going to get your money's worth. You get to meet with counselors, and not only that, at some schools you're even able to go and stay for the weekend. And then in other cases, you're even able to postpone some of that money up until the first week of school. So definitely call your financial aid office or your school to see about postponing those fees once your financial aid kicks in.
Yep. So what they do with postponing that is they're saying, you know what, we'll charge you later once your financial aid kicks in. And a great question that Karina just brought up. What if you're a waitlisted student? Let's say you're waitlisted at your dream school, which is UC Riverside. Well, I still suggest, and all of us will suggest, that you still SIR to a school. Choose your next best school. Choose your next best option. Why? Because ultimately you want to secure that you're going to be able to go somewhere. What if, hopefully not, Riverside says no to you? Then where are you going to go? So you want to SIR to a school. Now, if this is your dream school, the school that you've been dreaming of since you were 2 years old, and you couldn't see yourself going anywhere else, then yes, don't SIR to any school and choose the community college option and give yourself a second chance to get into that school, if you really feel that strongly. But I will tell you this, you make the school doesn't make you. You make that college experience by doing orientation, doing clubs, talking to your teachers. It's all on you. It's not really based on the school. So regardless of which school you ultimately choose, you can make that experience phenomenal. It's up to you, and you have that power and you have that control. So don't let it, my heart, I didn't get into my dream school. I'm sure the next best school, or the next school that has everything else that you're looking for, might be the actual best fit for you. So keep that in mind as we're going through this. And then remember, your SIR is non-refundable. So if you do choose to SIR to a school and then you get accepted into your waitlist school, which you would hear back after May 1st, do know the fees do not transfer. So let's say I got waitlisted at Riverside, I accepted UC Merced because Merced has great financial aid packages. Riverside then says yes to me, I'm gonna have to double pay if I had to pay. So do keep that in mind and be conscientious of that. If you didn't have to pay, then no stressors, right? You just kind of go with the flow. Now, what happens next after we've done our student intent to register? The very next thing that's going to come up is your SLR. That is your statement of legal residence. That will happen at any institution, whether you are documented, undocumented, have lived here your whole life. Everyone has to do this, and it's going to be information about you, your family, where you guys have lived, where have you established your funds, where is all that coming from, just to make sure that you qualify as a California resident or the residents of the school of where you applied if you applied somewhere out of state. Nothing too stressful, but we're always here to help out with that. The very next thing, if you're doing a UC school, you want to do housing, because housing is usually due by June 1st, June 15th, not June 15th, June 1st, yeah, June 15th, what am I saying? June 15th. As well as you want to do your immunization records. So that's making sure that you have all your shots, all of that, just to, we just want to be safe, right? If anything the coronavirus has taught you, we just want to be safe and healthy. So that kind of continues with that trend. And then the last thing is placement test, as well as your final high school transcript. Your final high school transcript is due July 15th. By then, everyone, fingers crossed, has graduated and will, have that final transcript to send off to the schools. So those are all the steps that kind of happens next. Your statement of legal residence, again, it's just going about your family, your history, a little bit about where you've lived. Have you really been in California? Can you prove it? That's essentially what it is, so that they don't have to charge you out-of-state tuition fees. So that's how that kind of plays out. Then you have your summer orientation, as Karina had mentioned. That sometimes this will get covered or waived, or you can postpone it after you've been accepted to the school. Orientation, I'm not gonna lie, can come at a price. It can be anywhere between $400, $600, $300. Sometimes you can get it waived, sometimes the school will say no. But as Karina mentioned, we can always call and say, hey, could you postpone this fee? And we can cover it once it kind of comes in with tuition. Because this is one of the few charges that you would have to pay out of pocket because financial aid doesn't cover it automatically. But the best thing about orientation is that that's where you're gonna meet all of the people who's gonna go to school with you, figure out the people's names, you'll meet your roommate if you're gonna live at the school, as well as you do your counseling appointment to figure out what classes you're taking, and then create your portal so you know how to manage this whole new network because you're at a new school. So it's really important that you sign up and that you follow this next step just because you wanna know what's gonna happen next, right? We all wanna know what happens next, and we kinda wanna feel the vibe. What's this new class like? What's going on, That's your chance to kind of feel it out and see what's going on. So that's kind of a summary of what it is, as well as for some schools, private and primarily UC, at your orientation is where you'll take your placement test. So if you have like a science requirement, let's say you're really going into chemistry, you can take a chemistry placement exam, or an English placement exam, or a math proficiency exam. The CSUs will do a survey, as well as they look at your grades and your transcripts. Same thing will happen at the community college, but the UC system and private out-of-state schools, you're gonna take a placement test most likely, just to make sure that you're on track to do college level work, because we wanna make sure that you're successful in college. That's what all of our goals is to do, necessarily. And then orientation at every school will be different, but you'll cover Greek life, clubs, organizations, major events. You'll have food giveaways. I know my school was doing like, woo! Here's free stuff, here's a shirt, here's a water bottle, here's delicious food. That'll be probably the best time the food ever will be on campus. No offense to any schools, but I'm gonna be honest, because they're trying to go all out for you, your friends, and your families. Any questions to ask while you're at orientation or doing a virtual orientation? You wanna ask about campus safety, the health center in case you have any emergencies. What are your housing options if you haven't really looked into it? Roommates, policies, who teaches what classes, your dining options, majors, financial aid, anything like that is all fair game at orientation because, you want to be aware, you want to be comfortable. This is your new environment for 4 years, so, let's get out there. Let's be active. And then the placement test, again, it is changing now because it has to be done virtually, so typically, you would be getting the announcements in your school portals of saying you take a writing placement test and you take an English one. Again, for UC and private schools, but now most likely how it'll be is at your orientation. This is just my guesstimate. Don't take my word for it, but that's just my guesstimate just because, I've been doing this for a little bit. That's how I kind of figure that it's going to be going. But of course, you'll find that out in your orientation and in your email. And then in the next video, we'll talk about housing. So, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about housing. But this is what we're going to dive into next. So catch you on the next one, and we're continuing our workshop series, getting you ready for college. We got this. We got this.
Thank you.